Eden Care UK is a friendly intervention service providing support to people who are terminally ill reaching end of life. We advocate for a high quality of care and enhanced life choices, and challenge the isolation of elderly people through friendship and social activities. This service would not be possible without your support. Please donate edencareuk.com or call 07957 199 328.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। ও আমার বোনজি, তাইনার আব্বা আম্মা নাই, আমারও তো ঠিক নাই বিয়া দিবার। আল তাই তোরারে দিবানে আমরা দোয়া করবনি, তোরা সাহায্য করছো।
National Muslim Burial Register was established to support Muslims arrange their final rites. This service caters for Muslims who have no one to carry out their Islamic burial rites upon their death, including funeral planning and burial after their demise. Get in touch for a friendly chat and discuss our eligibility criteria. muslimburialfund.co.uk or call 07957 199 328. National Muslim Burial Register is a service offered
10 বছর
আর আম্মা
7 বছর
মানে তোর মা বাপ কেউ নাই না?
না
তোকে তো বিয়া ঠিক করছুন কোনো?
ও ঠিক করছি তো অনেক যারা সাহায্য লাগি রে বাবা, আমি থাকি আপনার কাছে আত্মাত্রাম জেনে আমি ফুরিগুতারে একবার দিতাম।
আমি তোমার প্রিয় হতে চাই, আমি তোমার প্রিয় হতে চাই, আমি তোমার প্রিয়।
আমার নাম জামিলা, আমি ক্লাস 7 পড়ি। আমার আব্বা আম্মা মারা গেছেন। আব্বা মারা গেছেন 3 বছর আগে, আম্মা মারা গেছেন 2 বছর আগে।
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another action-packed midnight Chit Chat Show. Today we'll be talking various topics. This is the third episode. Time has gone so quick. We only got one more left after this. So please join us, leave a comment, but we will prefer for you to give us a call and have a chat with us about various topics that we're going to go through today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Mr. Shahi Miah.
Assalamu alaikum. We've got an action-packed. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And Foysal Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Chit Chat.
And we have a new guest today, Bodru Bhai. Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Assalamu alaikum.
I was just saying that time has gone so quick. This is the third show. We only got one next week, and that's it. So I want the viewers to call us today, and we can discuss various things. They can discuss other topics as well, or leave us a comment, and we shall get back to them during the show. So welcome, brothers. Let's start off with a topic which is currently doing the rounds, which is Tory sleaze. Now, Shahi Bhai, I know you're into a little bit of politics, so I'll let you have a few words before we all jump in and have a little natter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really. I mean, it's got
What
to
is the essence of this Boris Johnson thing that's going on? Most people might not be aware of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know where to start because there's a whole series of things that he said, things that he says he hasn't said, and with I think the latest one, maybe you're referring to, is the incident of cash for curtains or cash for cushions, whereby
I thought it was golden wallpaper or something.
Something like that. So when he moved into 10 Downing Street, which previously, I believe Theresa May, who's married to a billionaire, she was staying there. So apparently it's a skip. It's not good enough for him. Now the country provides, the state provides £30,000 allowance every year for the Prime Minister and his family, or to actually decorate the place or to do the place up. However, £30,000 per year wasn't enough for him. So apparently, and this is still sort of under investigation, he decided to get some financial help. I believe he's paid £150,000 a year plus. That's just the minimum. That's just the basic. Okay. So despite that, he felt that he was not well off enough to do it up himself, plus the 30,000, of course. So now there are allegations that he actually got a Tory donor. I don't know the name. I've forgotten the name. Lord
some American Akuri or something. Akuri.
Oh no, that's another one. That's his girlfriend. You're mixing up you're mixing things up. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to blabber on. Basically, I think it was to do up the flat, he got another 50k or 60,000, which a Tory donor paid. And then now he refuses to admit that he's broken the protocol, because believe it or not, and that's one of the great things about the system here, there are rules and regulations for everything, and it's not right for the leader, the representative of the country, to be seen to be taking favors from people, because it could affect their actions, their judgments regarding certain issues. So I mean, the way I see it, it's a bit laughable in a way. Who cares about curtains and who cares about cushions? But at the end of the day, on this issue and on all the others where he's sort of done some very I don't know, like dodgy things, it comes down to rule by law, in my opinion. Like, do we want a system and a country where everybody lives by the rules, and the rules are applied equally to everybody, regardless of how high up you are or how sort of a normal person you are? That's my question. What do you think? Okay, let's go to Foysal. What do you think?
Come in there before I answer that. This also been linked with the COVID crisis as well, because a lot of these big contracts have been given to friends, so-called friends, because they donate to the Tory party, etc. I know some companies that were given, they don't even specialize in some of the PPP equipment that was the contracts were handed out to. So I think this has also been linked to that as well, saying that it's all favors for friends and etc. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that allegedly he said that he's given the money back to the person who donated to do up the flat or number 10. But it's just one thing after another with Mr. Johnson. So I'm going to hand over to Brother Foysal, who should know or be in the loop a little bit more with regards to the government. So tell us what's going on, bruv. Can I pay for his toilet?
Well, depends how much.
And then get £1 billion contract to do some sort of thing that I'll never get around to doing.
It depends if you've got his phone number, I suppose.
That's the other thing, yes.
Well, funnily enough, his phone number's apparently been available on the internet for the last 15 years.
You could have Googled it and got his number.
Yeah, apparently so.
Why is it always I come in late when everybody else knows this?
Well, the thing is, like you said, Azafor, it's not just one thing. There's so many facets to it. And if you also, to add to it, if you've been following the news, in the last few days, I think Dyson there was a link to the owner or multimillionaire, billionaire, whatever.
Is that Mr. Hoover? Dyson Hoover.
Dyson, who's the owner of Dyson.
Can I just mention that there are other brands available here? We have, we can't sort of mention brands.
No. The Dyson, why I say is because it's been all over the news. And
of course,
remember when COVID not kicked in and everything, and the government was looking for British companies who could build ventilators. So I think. Is it Lord Dyson? Is he Lord now? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyway, he approached Dyson, who apparently was a close friend of his as well. So he says, and he basically sanctioned the company to research into and build the ventilators, sort of like in large numbers. And it paid something like £20 million towards that research and everything. This is public money, of course. But then the way in which he was approached, the way in which it was sanctioned, it was all very, very wishy-washy. I mean, like you said, Shahi, there are protocols involved in public spending, how ministers spend, and so on. But I think a lot of these have been leapfrogged, and a lot of them perhaps weren't followed by the rule. And the reason given was that because we were in a COVID situation, that something had to be done, and any prime minister at that point in time would have done anything.
Fast tracking, apparently.
Yeah, decision making. But then it begs the question: at the end of the day, we do have a parliamentary system, we do have a system in place and processes and procedures, and if
on a slightly comical note, I don't know how to put it, but like we read in the papers about other countries, right? They're meant to be corrupt, like Pakistan, Bangladesh. They're meant to be really corrupt. But now I don't know. Like maybe many of us feel like, oh, we're no different. Like it's the same thing, but they, under a different label. It's the same process that's going on.
Well, the thing is,
so we could say that we're on a par with the UK now in terms of transparency and following the rules.
Well, the thing is, with the UK, I think what it is that I must say there is an element of sort of like we do follow processes and procedures as far as possible. I think the layman probably certainly does. Or tries, majority of the people do. But I think when it comes to another tier of sort of like in society, the higher tier, people at the higher end of society where they have loads of money, loads of influence and stuff like that, I think a lot of these rules can sometimes be kind of
bend.
Yeah, I mean, adjusted to
circumvented, let's say.
Adjusted to suit the purposes. And we've spent billions and billions over the COVID period in terms of sourcing, the
the classic one is the test and trace one, isn't it?
Test and trace, we spent billions.
3 billion or something. And nobody...
12 billion.
12 billion.
Listen to this, right? They spent 12 billion, and then what happened? Apparently, they lost a lot of the data because the spreadsheet, they were using an Excel spreadsheet, which wasn't even the latest version. Was it 2013 or something? And then it just fell off the end of the column because it ran out of columns. Are you telling me for $12 billion, that's the best software you could get hold of? It's just unbelievable.
Well, this is where I was going to ask Bodubai. If we had perhaps asked Bodubai to establish a spreadsheet,
for £5, he could have done it for £5. He's an IT expert.
I charge £10. A few columns and a few rows.
Well, you could say 1 billion, and I'll do the column.
The crazy thing is, guys, this is the mad thing here. Like, this has been all over the news, all the incidents, all the sort of allegations and corruption and all this mishandling of public contracts. But guess what? The Conservatives are going ahead in the polls. There's something strange in this country. I don't understand.
I think people are sort of like there isn't a strong opposition at the moment. If you really look at the
True.
facts, there isn't a strong opposition. If there was a strong opposition, perhaps people would have felt like there was an alternative to rely on. But I don't think that is.
I don't think people care. You know, it's like Bangladeshi politics. Yeah, you got the two parties. No matter what the leading party does, and no matter how much wrong they do, the supporters will always support that party. They won't change to a different party, would they? It's the same in this country.
No, I wouldn't say that. If you look at the last general election in the UK, then you see that what they used to call the red belt, which was up north, that turned into a blue belt. People just shifted from the Labour Party to voting the Tories.
Is that because they're all doing some sort of martial arts? They went from red belt to... Sorry, guys. Sorry, I went off topic there a little bit.
Well, it could have been a black belt.
Yeah.
But that was because of some of the smears against the Labour leader at that time, isn't it? So
no, that was. But I'm just saying that it's not always the case.
I mean have you noticed every time there's some sort of crisis, or every time the government looks like it's going to get into trouble, all of a sudden Priti Patel comes on the screen and she says, "We're going to nuke the English Channel, so they can't cross over. You know, we're going to put wave machines, So it's almost like it's anti-immigration or hostility towards migrants or refugees. That's like a shield they use, Like every time it looks like they're going to get criticised, they bring out the bazooka, don't they?
Well,
she does look a bit like a bazooka.
It's playing on people's sentiment, actually. It's a populist sentiment in the country where
blaming on the migrants.
The foreigners have taken over the jobs, taken their wives, taken their girlfriends and everyone in their society.
On that note, I can happily say we've got a very balanced panel here today. Look, we've got people with short hair, we've got people with beards, you know what I mean? What do you want?
Oh, people with no hair.
We're going to move on.
That's a wig, by the way.
We've got to our next topic. But before we do that, just like to say, please see the scrolling thing at the bottom.
The ticker at the bottom,
Please donate during this blessed month of Ramadan. We are a charity and we are hoping to do some good work in regards to our Muslim burial funds. We've got Eden Care, we've got Sila Aid, where we provide lots of support to the very, very poor in Bangladesh, the Greater Sila area. You can also pay PayPal as well. If you go to 13 Rivers Trust, you can go to Sila Aid and make a donation there as well. So please be kind enough to make a small contribution towards our.
You know what would be fantastic would be if either during the program or by somebody watching the program, they actually sponsored like an orphan, or they actually made some donation to one of those amazing causes. That'd be fantastic.
No, you're absolutely right, Shahi. And Azafor, I was going to mention that last Sunday we had a fantastic Sila Aid appeal on Channel S. And Alhamdulillah, we managed to raise, a reasonable amount to support the orphans and the widows, particularly the orphans. And thank you to all our viewers who've donated, and all the donors who've donated towards supporting 60 orphans. That's fabulous, absolutely remarkable.
I mean, keep it between ourselves, but you can make that 61. I know somebody who will be.
Well, there you go. We've got another one there. Mashallah.
So our target is 100. For a full year, is £240. You can do a standing order or direct debit for £20 a month, which will support a orphan for one whole year. So we have, if there's another one going, then we have 39 still available. Please kindly have a think about sponsoring a orphan. There's nothing better than sponsoring a orphan, inshallah. So now we're going to hop over to our cousins on the other side of the river. It's been really quiet. I've, in a way, I'm a bit disappointed now that Trump is no longer there. There's no hoo-ha. There's no, I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Biden, is he asleep? Or
well, no.
It's been 100 days, and I haven't heard a peep from him. What's happening, bro?
What's happened is it feels like a bit of an anticlimax. Anticlimax meaning that I think Trump used to feed on sort of like people sent again another one who used
he's a Twitter wizard, wasn't it? Every time, even if he breathed the wrong way, Twitter would come out and
every time he would just let wind go. He would just put something on the Twitter.
Since he's gone, there's not been
I
many
suppose
tweets.
Trump by name, you know what I mean? Trump by nature, isn't it? You know, he's got to release somehow. So I think Twitter was his favored means of release.
I think we've just moved into sort of like normality, that traditional diplomacy and traditional politics, and that's why it feels like the excitement of Trumpism has vanished, and now we're back into normality. So, in my view, I think with Biden, he's 100 days. Although I think a lot of people might have thought that, oh well, he's going to be in the backstage, not really doing much, given his age and perhaps. And he's going to take a back seat on things, but I don't think he has. I think he's actually been in the forefront of policy making in the US.
I think
so. That's quite surprising.
Maybe not everybody's aware, but he's been at the center of government for the last like half a century. You know, because he's been in that field in the highest level. For many years, and due to personal tragedy, I don't know if you're aware, where he lost
his son,
his son, and his family in a terrible motor crash. He's actually experienced, his life experience has given him a lot of strength and a lot of understanding, I would say, where he can empathize a lot with other people. So I think what he's done since coming in, without making a lot of fuss and without sort of unnecessary hoo-ha, he's actually been very, very efficient, because he knows how to govern. He knows how the machinery of government works, and he's actually done a huge amount since coming in the last 100 days. The main achievement of which I believe is the huge sort of relief package. I think it's like 3 trillion or something. I don't know the exact figure, but due to that, the economy, the stock markets, and also his focus on the vaccination program over there, phenomenal speed that they've managed to vaccinate. And I think they're on a par with the UK now in terms of how many people have been vaccinated. And that's like really sort of stabilized and given hope to a lot of people in the States.
Well, not forgetting the climate, sort of like on the climate change front as well. I think he's now re-establish US as a leading country in terms of tackling climate change and so on.
And the previous administration denied there was such
well, they pulled out of the Paris. I think it was the Paris Accord. They pulled out of it, didn't they? The Trump administration.
I think also the WHO, the World Health Organization, they've also reintegrated into that as well. So a lot of the sort of normal things that the United States should do, take a leading role in the world and do their bit to help other smaller nations and the world sort of cooperation, if you like, collaboration process.
I think what
he's actually gone back into that.
Basically, Biden has brought into fold America back into the traditional kind of international politics and diplomacy, and even the way in which perhaps a country should be conducting itself with other partners, other like-minded people, like-minded countries, and so on. Whereas with Trump, we saw just, I don't know, it was just bizarre. The whole term that Trump was in there, I think it created chaos, instability, and the people just didn't know where how to conduct that kind of diplomacy.
Well, it seemed like he had way more respect for people like President Putin, and what's it called, the North Vietnam. I've forgotten his name, but the leader of North Vietnam.
Yeah.
He seemed to have a lot more admiration for them than
Korea.
he did for sort of democratic countries in the West, like Germany or France or even the UK. He put them sort of on the bottom, and he respected Putin and North Korea more.
Well, I just hope that Biden.
North Vietnam, isn't it? Or Vietnam.
North Korea.
North Korea, right?
Yeah. So I just hope that Biden does actually see sense in sort of like retaining that close relationship with the UK, given that we've now kind of come out of left the European Union, EU, that we do have that close relationship, and there aren't any kind of conditions attached that are going to be kind of helpful towards the UK, or or distasteful in many respects. It's going to have to be kind of something that suits both countries rather than one-sided policies. That's
most importantly, I think he reversed the ban on some Muslim countries.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So,
that's right, yeah.
So that's a relief. Maybe some people will now be able to travel to the US when the COVID situation.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, that's the first step, isn't it, in the right direction?
Well, let's just say people with Muslim names, if they do travel there, they don't have to be carrying their own Vaseline with them. Let's put it that way.
We'll go for a quick break, come back, and we'll.
On that note, I think we need to go to a break.
And hopefully, next segment of our show, we have some calls to come in or some comments, inshallah. We'll be back shortly. Assalamu alaikum.
When the Grenfell Tower fire struck, many expected that resources would be available in both dealing with the fire itself and the provisions on hand for those who had lost everything. Unfortunately, this tragic loss of life had been predicted by some of the deceased residents themselves. Many of the first responders were not people in uniform, but it was the Muslim residents themselves who were awake during the nights of Ramadan and alerted their neighbours about the impending inferno that was about to engulf their entire building. Charities and members of the public from all walks of life came to Grenfell whilst the tower was still ablaze and during the immediate aftermath. They provided food and donated whatever they could in order to relieve some of the suffering for those who were able to make it out alive. But all the goodwill shown could still not prevent the tragic loss of life, and the majority of the victims were from an ethnic minority Muslim background. According to Islamic funeral rites, the deceased should be buried within 24 hours. However, due to the severe nature of the fire, this just wasn't possible. For many families, burying their loved ones became extremely difficult, and although there were impromptu funeral prayers that were performed immediately after the tragedy, bodies were still yet to be identified, and you can imagine because of the ferocity of the fire itself, many were just unrecognisable.
Eden Care UK is a friendly intervention service providing support to people who are terminally ill reaching end of life. We advocate for a high quality of care and enhanced life choices, and challenge the isolation of elderly people through friendship and social activities. This service would not be possible without your support. Please donate edencareuk.com or call 07957 199 328. 480,000 cremations take place every year in the UK. Some of these cremations sadly include Muslims. We offer burial support for Muslim reverts who are vulnerable and alone, including an Islamic will service. If you or someone you know is worried about not receiving a Muslim burial, then contact us today. muslimburialfund.co.uk or call 07957 199 328. A project of Muslim Burial Fund.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. That video was very apt because our next topic is regarding Grenfell. Muslim Burial Fund played a huge role during that crisis. We buried a lot of people who were Muslims who tragically died in the Grenfell fire. And I know for a fact that we worked throughout 24 hours a day supporting people, taking a leading role in providing help and support during those very, very sad times. Shaiba, I don't know your take on the actual Grenfell and the
Yeah, I
tragedy
mean,
that could have been
obviously it
avoided.
happened a little while ago. However, the repercussions of it are still ongoing. So, in terms of, I mean, why I thought of putting it on was because I saw this article where a person who lives in one of these high-rise buildings, they've been given a bill of like 30 or 40,000 pounds, because in order for the work to be carried out, the owner of the building is charging all the leaseholders. Okay, so he wrote to the housing department. I believe it's Minister Jenrick, and he got a letter back saying, "Oh, if you feel emotionally disturbed by it, etc." I don't know. I can't remember the exact words, but in a nutshell, they basically said, "Oh, call the Samaritans if if you're feeling traumatized by this." Just think about that for a moment.
Well,
this is something that it was nothing to do with them when they bought their lease. They were sold it in good faith that it's a sound building, properly constructed, following all the safety regulations. And it's only as a result of Grenfell that it's come to light now, after years of investigations and inquiries, that I think they actually defrauded the test results. They actually made up the test results to say that the cladding was safe, but it wasn't. And then obviously the regulators, whoever was meant to check it, they didn't do a very good job. So there was a lot of failures in the system, from the companies to the installers to the people who were meant to check it. And now it's the leaseholders. Obviously, forget the leaseholders. First of all, it led to the deaths of many, many people, which, the tragic deaths, as we mentioned. But now, having made a big hoo-ha about how they're going to sort it out and they're going to help everybody, the government is still dragging its feet on, sort of implementing what they said. And now people are being given these huge astronomical bills to sort of pay for the work. And it's really shocking. Really shocking.
Well, funny you should mention that, because it just ties up with the Grenfell issue as well. It's been in the news in the last couple of days about these particular people in that particular category, where they have actually bought these leases of properties that belonging in sort of like towers that have been identified having dangerous cladding. And the government has actually saying that they've approved grants for certain type of buildings which are something like 18 meters and above, or something like that, I think, in terms of specification. Anything below that, they would not qualify, or they would get a loan, sort of like a loan from the government or the banks, I'm not sure, on a preferential interest rate. But why should leaseholders have to do that, like you said? Because when they bought it in good faith. They had their surveys and everything was cleared, and there wasn't the issue about the cladding being an issue. So I just want to bring another analogy in terms of what, I mean, if you had bought a product, say from Curry's or one of the retail outlets, and that product was faulty, or that product, the product needed sort of like wasn't safe enough, what would happen is that company would recall the product, and the company would either fix the problem or they would replace it with one which doesn't have the issue or the fault. I don't think that's this is any different, because at the end of the day, when these people actually bought their properties or the leases of the properties, they went bought them under good faith. And why should they now have to kind of bear the cost of putting that right when it should be the people, like you say, the installers, the suppliers, and so on? I mean, there are people who are saying that they're in their early 20s. They've got to now declare bankruptcy because they can't afford to.
That's right.
I have a colleague. I have a colleague at work. She's got a bill of 65,000.
Wow.
She's young, yeah, but she's got a job, but she's not earning a lot. She's got a mortgage to pay, and on top of that, now she has to pay another extra 65,000.
Wow,
which is not fair, to be honest.
Absolutely, it's absolutely shocking. And
she recently bought the property. You see, just before the Grenfell thing happened.
I mean, it's not just the cost of the cladding. Due to the disaster that happened, they also found that a lot of the buildings, there's other work that needs to take place inside the building to make it safe in terms of fire escapes, in terms of separating it into different compartments so that fire doesn't spread, installing better alarm systems and other measures. So that all those things, they're not covered by the compensation scheme or the loan system. So that has to be paid for by the either by the owner of the building, or as is happening, they're just passing that cost on to leaseholders.
You see, I think what it is it's going to cost so much. The cost of rectifying the issues and the problems that, what you said, Shahi, is going to go into billions and billions. So the government, to be honest, I don't think the government has that kind of resources. So what they're trying to do is work around how best to kind of apportion it to the interested parties. Now, what my question is, why aren't they actually pointing the finger at the people who are responsible from the outset, the people who haven't been checking what they should have checked? Because if a building doesn't have the correct fire, health and safety structure in place, and they haven't been checked, then why should that be the fault of the people who are living there? They're not experts. They're not the people who actually devise these policies. So it must boil down to either local government, central government, or the people who are managing the properties. But I don't see that happening for some reason.
And I think you touched on, I think the video earlier touched on one of those issues where in the Grenfell Tower itself, the residents committee, the committee, a lot of them were actually concerned about the fire risks and the lack of safety, and they kept bringing that to the attention of the the management of the building, or the council, or whoever was responsible for managing the actual block. And several times they did this over the years, and each and every time they just got batted away.
And we saw that in the inquiry when they're examining the witnesses at the inquiry. So I mean, there are all these big questions, and I don't know. I personally don't know how it will all pan out, but it's not looking very promising at the moment.
I mean, referring back to one of our earlier questions about Tory sleaze, I mean, this could apply to any political party. I'm not just pointing to Tories.
It could apply to any.
But a lot of the big the developers, obviously, they're huge businesses. The big developers, their budgets are in billions. But I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe they do. Donate to the Conservative Party. I do believe, if you look into it, I'm sure I won't be proven wrong. So obviously, as we've seen with other issues, they tend to try and look after their donors and sponsors.
But like you said, I think it would probably apply to all political parties. They would have their own interested groups who would be kind of sponsoring or donating, just to raise their own kind of concerns or issues in the parliamentary system. So that's happened whichever party is in power.
So I think in Pakistan or Bangladesh or Nigeria they call it corruption. But in the UK they call it lobbying, right?
Well, we do promote the international rule of law.
That's right. UK has nothing to do with those countries that you mentioned. We have proper systems in place.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, just a couple of comments that we have received. Abjal Bhai gives us salam, and we also got Mo Sheikh. He said, "Keep up the good work, guys. We would rather you called us, bruv, so we can
call in, bro.
have a little chat with Badru Bhai, innit? Live on air.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please do. You still got 20 minutes. Give us a tingle.
And it's not too late to sponsor the show, brother Mo Sheikh.
So
I know you're a keen photographer.
If anyone calls in,
where's our brother from Dubai who's on our first episode? Do you remember we had a brother from Dubai who's quite? I thought he's quite an interesting kind of character.
Sorry, but
please call in. Sorry, but
I was going to say if anyone calls in, and I've got a little gift for them. Inshallah.
I'll call in.
Yeah, so call in.
You kept that quiet. You should have said that at the beginning, brother.
Yeah, well, you never gave me a chance.
So first time to come in, call in. You get a gift.
I've got let me tell you what it is. I've got a little chili plant which I've grown. It's a special one.
But I tell you that chili is fiery, bro. I'm telling you.
It's fiery. If you can make it grow, if you can
call
keep it alive.
He's the chili king.
Only thing is you have to come and pick it up. I can't deliver.
I'm sure if they want the chili plant.
So if you want, it's called Carolina Reaper.
Wow.
That's right.
The
name itself scares you.
Yeah,
it's an American hot chili pepper.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those top ones when it comes to.
One of the top. It's one of the hottest.
In terms of rating, it's in the millions or something.
Yeah, it's in the high millions. So.
Whatever it is, it's hot. So give us a call and you'll get one of these chili plants from Dubai. Thank you, Dubai, for that generous offer. Talking of chilies, bring us nicely to our next topic, which is sorry, my mind's gone blank a bit. It's healthy eating during Ramadan.
Healthy eating.
Sorry. Yes.
I think we should leave that to Bodubai.
Okay, I will let Bodubai start this off.
Do I look like healthy to you guys?
Well, you've lost a lot of weight doing jogging.
You have.
That was before Ramadan. You know what? But since Ramadan, because of fasting, I've not actually been doing any kind of exercise.
What I'm saying is, you've cut down on some of the food or bad food that you were eating prior to that.
Yeah. I mean, the usual stuff.
Give our viewers some tips on how to keep healthy during this.
I think
12 days, 11 days.
I think the idea is to stay away from fried food. The one thing I've invested, which I'm really happy with, is a Philips air fryer. Now, with that, you can cook anything, things like chips, even chicken, grilled chicken, even fish. You can cook all of that inside that without any oil. So the fact that you could have chips without fried oil, it makes it slightly healthier than the usual chicken and chips that
without having it deep fried into oil.
Yeah, deep fried. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No,
I've even tried. I've actually even tried samosas and all that,
and it works.
And it works. It comes out really nice. Crunchy.
I mean, how does it taste? I mean,
it tastes the same.
Yeah.
It just tastes less oily. That's all it is.
I mean, what I've found is if you cook it in the oven as compared to putting it in the fryer, like a normal fryer, it doesn't taste as good. But you're saying the air fryer tastes just as good.
No, the air fryer tastes as good. Well, I mean, what you can do is you can add a few drops of oil just over the stuff, and that oil would circulate and cook the whole thing inside. Because what happens is it just circulates the hot air inside the air fryer, and it cooks it evenly on every side. So it's really good. And the other thing, obviously, during Ramadan, stay away from fizzy drinks. That's one of the bad things, to have fizzy drinks. Also, cut down on the rice. That's how I lost weight. Honestly speaking, I mean, it's the rice.
I mean, for a lot of people, the fried stuff is associated with Ramadan. You gotta fry samosas, you gotta have fried this.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is have all of that, but don't fry it. Have it, put it in the air fryer, and trust me, it tastes exactly.
Are you getting a commission from Philips by any chance?
And in terms of,
I mean, there's so many brands out there, but the one I bought was a Philips one, and it just looks nice. That's all it is. They all do the same job, so you could buy one for about 40 quid in probably Lidl's or Aldi.
You might as well send the link to us, bro.
Can you give some tips, by the way, on having sehri or suhoor? A lot of people may have curry and rice, which is.
I mean, I've been having curry and rice, to be honest. I've even right at the beginning, just to keep with the tradition, I've had the mango and the cream.
That's what I was going to say.
It's got to be done, otherwise it doesn't feel like you're, having suhoor.
But so that would define the whole purpose, isn't it? Because that's a calorie.
No, but I think
double cream or extra thick cream.
Nah, go for the single cream, obviously. So half the fat content, but the fat content, yeah. But I think it's about having smaller portions. Have fruits, have dates, have a yogurt. I mean, have a banana. That keeps you going. I have a lot of fruits during Ramadan. Not that I've lost any weight. Funny, I've lost a little bit actually, not substantial. But inshallah, after Ramadan, my training regime will start again, and I've got another 10 kilos to lose.
Wow, we won't be able to see you
before the summer.
Did you say another 10 kilos?
10 kilos, yeah. That's my.
Okay.
I've lost 15, so I've got another 10 to go.
With myself, I've mixed and matched. Some days I've had the odd curry. Some days I've had shredded wheats and porridges and stuff like that. And like what I said, this is the first time since I started fasting. I've had a banana as well, or half a banana, which I was told that keeps you going, gives you energy throughout the day.
Have you found it?
I'm not a fruit person, as most of you brothers know. So it's been all right. I mean, yes, I get the odd hunger pains during the day, but after it goes away, then alhamdulillah, it's all right. But
one other thing you could have is to keep you hydrated. I don't know if any people have heard of fizz. The fizz tablets.
Yeah, I heard about it. You told us about it.
Yeah, you put the tablet inside the water, let it fizz away, and it becomes like an orange. I mean, you can get different flavors. I got the orange flavor. It tastes like Mirinda.
You know what? Funnily enough, the traditional stuff I found is quite comforting. Like the kisuri and the sana. It can get it can get a little bit monotonous. So obviously you vary it, but
that's iftar time, isn't it?
Yeah, iftar time. But are we talking about iftar and sehri as well, or both?
Both, but I mean that's with that kisuri, then it doesn't feel like you're breaking fast, isn't it? So
also it kind of reminds me of like the Ramadan packs we gave out as well, because like we incorporated all that into it. So I feel a kind of kinship with folks back home as well. They're having their sana, their kisuri.
Some affiliation on there, yeah.
Yeah, and in the mornings, I remember in the old days, like years back, where like I think my parents used to have spicy food in the morning, like sometimes with rice and curry and so on. But I can't take it. I've been having cereal lately. I can only have cereal in the morning now. I don't know. Is that I don't know about you guys, but like you said, if you stick a banana in there or half a banana, just chop it up, and if you have like half a glass of milk extra afterwards in the morning, that keeps you hydrated as well. That helps.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I haven't noticed anything different. If I have rice and curry, or if I have a bowl of porridge or shredded wheats or something like that, to me it just feels the same.
I think the other one good thing is having a watermelon. That's quite good.
Yeah, apparently that must be good as well. Yeah.
I think what you should try and do is just.
I was going to say, I know you've lost a lot of weight. I hardly recognize you if you go past me now.
Really?
So who goes there? Foysal, I know you don't normally have curries and all that during suhoor.
Yeah.
So
what I found works for me, that is obviously it's personal preference as well. I have porridge and mixed with sort of like berries and fruit, perhaps with sliced bananas as well. And with porridge, I find that it's something that your body kind of slowly burns, and plus with the fruit and everything, you're taking in the vitamins and minerals that you need during the day you would normally consume. But it does help, and it's good on the old stomach as well. At the same time, I think one thing that has helped me a lot is looking at the portion of food that you consume. I think you can easily kind of be attracted or tempted to overeat during iftar, or even during sehris, thinking that, oh, I've got to last for the next whole day without eating and so on. So, excuse me, what people can easily be tempted to over consume what's really necessary. And I found that just limiting the consumption or portion of food really, really does actually help a lot. And that's helped me personally. So, but whichever way it is, I think if you're going to make any drastic changes, what I would advise is that you kind of consult a doctor or someone in the medical profession to make sure that you know, a lot of people.
I thought you were going to say consult a witch doctor there.
Or that. Or
well, this is the Chit Chat Show, not the Gin Show.
Or if you wish, you can do that. But
spiritual advisor.
But you know, because a lot of people have underlying health conditions.
I've heard, and this I got this from Boris Johnson actually. Apparently, you can get IT training.
You can stop there.
Apparently, if you want to lose weight, you want to go for IT training, incorporating some pole dancing as well. Apparently, that was
okay.
Yeah, so if you've got half an hour or an hour, that can really burn the calories. Apparently.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I wouldn't advise it during fasting, though.
Anyway, we nearly come to end of our show. Nobody has called in, so Modubai, your present is safe.
Oh no.
Well, you'll have to pass it on to me now.
It's still available if anyone calls in.
Well, we'll entice the viewers to see if they want to call in. This section, we have Modubai here, who's an IT expert, I would say. He works in the IT field. So if anybody's got any questions in regards to any IT issues, maybe you can give us a call or give us a comment. Maybe Modubai can give some tips on how to resolve it. Like I said, I started corrected. Obviously, I said next week is our last show, and that's our last show for Ramadan. We're hoping to come back after Ramadan, so keep a lookout for. We'd like to make this a regular monthly show. See how it pans out, because it's quite good to have a little chat with people that you know and get the viewers to get involved and call up and have a little chat as well. Just want to say we're approaching the last 10 days now. It has gone quite quick. In a blink of an eye, nearly 20 days have gone. By the way,
this year it's been the quickest. You know, it's as I said, it's gone in a blink of an eye. It's only the other day we started fasting, and it's what we only got another week, just over a week now.
Well, next week, and then maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe
next week in a couple of days. I mean, alhamdulillah, you know, Allah's blessed me. I've taken. Well, today was my last day at work, so I'm off from now on. So I normally take the last 10 days off, so I can do the extra ibadah and catch the Laylatul Qadr, you know, and inshallah. And this year, you know, alhamdulillah, I've been. My intention. Normally, every year I do one khatam of the Quran, and this year I intended to do 2. So nearly finished. If I didn't come on my show tonight, I would have finished my khatam tonight, inshallah. But that's gonna wait till tomorrow now.
That's really good.
And then I'm gonna start my new khatam and see what I can do in the next 10 days, inshallah. But I think, just a quick advice to all the viewers, the month of Ramadan, it's a month of Quran, so this is when we should be reading Quran more than what we normally do. There's ample of opportunities, after every salah, even if you read 2 pages, you can do one khatam, because one juz is what, 10 pages. So 5 daily prayers. After every prayer, if you do 2 pages, that's nothing. Two pages, probably 10 minutes. And if you're fast, probably 5 minutes. So, I mean, it's easy to complete the khatam, in the month of Ramadan. So, inshallah, if you are listening, please do try and read the Quran as much as possible. And obviously, in the last 10 nights, try and catch the Laylatul Qadr.
Yeah,
make dua for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's inspiring to everyone, and particularly us all. And thank you very much, by the way. That's really inspiring to do 2 khatam and the commitment and everything. That's really, really inspiring. And I hope that our viewers will find that really useful, and us as well. I think we all should kind of learn.
I think we all need to get closer to the Quran, not only just reciting it and reading it, but also the meaning. And at the end of the day, it's an advice and a map for your life. Advice on how to live your life in the correct way. So
that's true. I think a lot of people have read the Quran in the Arabic language, but many people I know, haven't actually read the Quran in English to understand the meaning. Because many of us don't understand the language itself. We know how to read, but we don't know what we're reading.
I mean, in one way, it shows the power of the actual words themselves. That we can actually gain something from reading it. But we also need to go to the next stage of actually following the guidance and understanding the guidance, and that's just as important.
I think that you hit the nail on the head, Shahi, because what it is I think we are in very confusing times, I think. And for us, I don't think it's just good enough just reading. I think we need to understand what the message is, what the guidance is, to make sure that we do kind of try and follow as best to our ability the right course in life. And
like you said, it's not something that an average person can just understand. It's just you're just scratching the surface. It's like the iceberg. You're only seeing what's on the top.
Yeah.
And it's only by a process of trying to understand it, and through discussion and reading.
I think it's all in the intention as well. When you read the Quran and when you try and understand the Quran, it's about seeking Allah's help as well, and asking Allah to make it easy for you to understand
and to guide
you. By doing so, He makes it easy for you, inshallah. Allah says in the Quran, He's made the Quran easy for you.
Yeah.
For you to memorize as well. So yeah, I mean, there's many programs, that take place throughout the year. Sometimes we find it. I mean, myself, I find it hard to pick up a book and read. I mean, before, when I was young, I couldn't I couldn't go to sleep without reading a book. That's how it was. But nowadays, because of life changes, family and work commitment and all that, you hardly get time to read a book. But there are loads of tafsir classes going on, where you can join in via social media, so you don't really have to go anywhere. You can just sit in the comfort of your home, on your mobile phone, just and go through with the sheikhs, when they go through the tafsir, the translation of the Quran, and they explain to you verse by verse. So yeah, inshallah, everyone takes the opportunity to try and understand
of the last 10 days.
That's right.
Inshallah.
I know, just quickly touching on, there was a special guest at the ELM today.
I missed it.
Normally I would have loved to have gone.
I missed it.
Who was that?
Last time I went, the queue was way past Umballa. So, and that was 45 minutes before the actual Esha
that was the first day.
night. Yeah. So
it's not Muslim Bank, is it?
By the time I get to the front, I'll be.
Abu Bakr Shatri came today to lead the Salah.
That's somebody that I really like his recitation.
One of my favorite reciters. I really wanted to go.
Is
he
the Imam
of
Medina? Or Mecca?
No,
he's a reciter. He's one of those. He does recitation and all that. Recordings and stuff like that.
All right. Okay.
But Alhamdulillah, the way he recites.
His recitation is very
But
soothing.
he also does lots of other reciters as well. Like
I've heard it, and he's got a very beautiful voice.
Yes. Alhamdulillah, he's one of those that can mimic other reciters as well.
Okay.
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Nobody has actually called in, but never mind.
So, by the way, that chili plant, you don't want to go to waste. So I'll take it off. I'll take it off you.
What? Did you call in?
So,
is this lobbying going on live on air? We've got some lobbying going on here.
Since no one called in, you can have it.
There you go.
But you have to come. You have to come and collect it.
I'd like to lodge an appeal.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to say thanks to our guests. Thank you for my co-hosts Shahi and Foysal, and inshallah we shall see you next week for. I don't know what we shall do. Shall we have a mix of all the topics that we had? Maybe people want to talk about some of the topics.
We can have an open forum discussion on.
Let's see what comes up.
I think that's the best thing. I have an open forum.
I'd like to give the viewers the opportunity to come and see what they want to discuss.
I'm hoping to discuss, Boris Johnson's resignation, but I don't think that's going to happen.
If you're into cryptocurrency, you want to have a quick word, please give us a call. If you're into any other topics that we discussed, just give us a call next week, inshallah, and we'll have a little chat.
Well, it'd be brilliant if people who maybe see this on recording afterwards, the show, they could suggest topics on the comments. That'd
be brilliant. That'd be brilliant.
We'll discuss them. I mean, I'm no expert, but I can talk until the cows come home, so that's not a problem. And I'm sure my other co-hosts are the same. So, did I hear a moo? That looks like my cow has come home, so I have to shut up and say goodbye. So thank you very much, everyone, for your valuable time. Inshallah, I shall see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.
It's been a pleasure as always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.